Hello and happy Tuesday. It's almost Thanksgiving. As I was looking at my calendar the other day, I realized Thanksgiving is coming right on us. So I'm Dale Callahan with Ask Dr. Callahan, and we are here today to look at some things for your homeschool options. And I got to quit saying the homeschool because it seems to not, that doesn't seem to be a clear definition of what's going on and what we're doing out there. We can call it whatever we want, but what we're doing is we're educating, and we're all educators. And whether it's schooling in a home, in a classroom, in a cover school, in a university, in a corporate setting, the education is everywhere, and that's what we're always doing. So the term homeschooling has begun to kind of mean, well, I'm not sure what it means to me, but we're educators, right? So we're helping others to learn and to grow. And for many of us, that's our great responsibility as parents. That's obviously one of the big responsibilities we have. So something that keeps coming up to me is, how do you get your kids to figure out where they're going? How do you get them to figure? I mean, we worry about what subject do they take. We worry about, are they progressing fast enough to meet some kind of end? What is that end? We worry about trying to meet the education, to meet college entrance maybe, but what is the college exit? What's the plan? So one of the things that kind of bothers me is that we never really work to help our kids get a lot of experience. I mean, we talk a lot about it, but how do you help your kids start now? Your kids want to be a doctor, an engineer, a writer, an architect, an archaeologist, whatever it is they want to be. How do you help them start now? And I mean now, 5 years old, 17 years old, anywhere in between in college. The path we tend to use is we try to get them educated so they can go to college and get prepared so they can go to the workplace and get a job. But that's not really the right thing to do. So I'm looking at, how do you get that experience right now? Now, the thing that kind of bothers me is, I'm talking about kids, but I'm also talking about you, your spouse. We tend to do things. We don't know how to do things right now to get experience. So let me just talk about us adults first. So I'm sitting with a client of ours the other day, and he's corporate guy, got a great job, all this stuff, married. And he tells me he wants to go to work at Disney. Now, then he makes this statement, I want to be there, about 5 years or something, go to work for Disney. Now, and I remember asking him, what's magical about 5 years? Where did that number come from? And, he didn't know. He just, that seems like a good number. It's far enough out in the future that I don't really have to think about it today. I mean, and I'm not picking on him. That's how a lot of times we think. It's far enough out in the future. I don't have to worry about it today, but it's still a goal, right? So I'm thinking about it. So to say something's 5 years out has this kind of nebulous meaning. So I met with him in June yesterday. So I met with him back in June. Yesterday was his first day at work in Disney, because that question at least helped challenge him. What am I waiting for? What's the magic about the 5 years? We do that as adults. And oddly enough, I met somebody else today that's a client, that she was telling me she wants to go to work at Disney, and she's not working for Disney. She's not working toward Disney. So something magical going on at Disney, right? It's the Magic Kingdom. So they're attracting lots of engineers in this case. So what are we doing? We as adults find ourselves oftentimes thinking about what we might do instead of taking steps to do, right? We talk a lot about what we're going to do, but we don't act. What are we teaching our children? Think about what the message is there. So, for instance, our daughter, when she was I think she was in 7th grade, had experienced the fact that she wanted to be an archaeologist, or at least she thought, right? She thought that was a cool thing to do. And I realized when you're in, when you really don't know what the world offers, you don't really know what you want to do. Probably she wanted to be an archaeologist because she had watched the Tomb Raider woman or whatever. So it all looked cool. But she dug around in the backyard and would find things. But she managed to go find a position with a archaeological dig that was local to us. And so she found herself working with a university professor doing an actual archaeology dig and being live on site in the 7th grade to experience what does that mean to do that. And that's what I'm trying to get at, is how do we get our kids right now to understand what it means to do that? We don't really have to wait. If your kid wants to do something, just do it. Maybe we can leave off neurosurgery, or maybe we can leave off things like that. But how do they get as close as they can to the things that they're thinking about? If you want to, people are always telling me, I want to become an author one day. Well, have you ever written anything? I was just working with somebody that's, one of our other clients, that he wanted to be a musician. He wanted to play music, and he was doing live performances with church bands and things like that. But what have you done? What is the path that you're moving forward? So we talk about things, but we don't take action. The results come from action. They come from that as adults, but it's true of our kids too. We model it, but they can do it. And so often our kids are so ready to do it. Now, why does this matter to you as a parent? I mean, I know we all want our kids to go off and do what they want to do and be successful, but it really, really matters, because probably what you are about to do is what many other people do, is you're about to invest a boatload of cash into a college degree, and all the cash and maybe the grief that goes with that. That's our typical path. Or have them go get job X, or have them go do whatever it is to get that, because that's what they think they want to do. And find there's a path of disappointment a lot of times, because what we've made up, whether it's a kid or an adult, but let's take your kids. A lot of times what they've made up in their mind, what a career path looks like, is not real. It's made up from TV. Again, our daughter, she figured out she wanted to be an archaeologist from watching Tomb Raider. Fortunately, her archaeological experiences were mostly fun, but it was nothing like the show. So where do we get our experiences? Where do we get the view of what life is going to be like to go do that career? Well, we get it from interactions, and mostly video and television and things like that. So learning what it's like to have a career as an adult in something that we don't know is really challenging. And for a child, and I'm saying anybody under 17, so excuse me if I'm insulting anyone, but somebody that let me even say that, even for a person who hasn't even graduated college, but that's gone through high school, gone to college, and they've never had any real work experience, they don't know what that career path looks like, nor do they know what it's like to work, really, and to interact in the world where people are working as teams, and all the chaos and things that go with that. So my challenge to you is to find ways to get your kids experiencing what they think they want to do now. I mean now, tomorrow. Can they job shadow someone? Can they go to find somebody, hey, I want to be a doctor, I want to be an accountant, I want to do something. Can they go job shadow them? Can they meet them? Can they talk to them? Can they go ask questions? Can they see where they work? Can they see what a day in the life of that works? Can they start doing those kind of jobs the best that they can do? You can't run off and do neurosurgery, but how do you get as close to what it is that you're trying to do now to get experience to what it feels like in that field? Because one or two things usually happens. You realize you had made it up in your head, the dream was different than the reality. And then sometimes though, and so you find yourself moving away. Sometimes though, the reality is better. And there's things that we didn't know, but we're really more and more attracted to what that thing is. So our son, wanted to be a writer. So he was going to write a book. And so he was going to have to publish the book, and so it's easy to talk about writing. So we kind of figured, well, what Daniel was going to do is he was going to write a book, and, he would get some words on page. If he's like most people, he never gets done. And then if he gets done, he did get done. So, if he's like most people, he'll never get it packaged together. And if he's like most people, he'll never get a cover. And if he's like most people, he'll never have it published. Well, he went through all those steps, which was, as a parent, you're like, well, wow, wasn't expecting that. What happened, even though those steps weren't the comfortable steps to him, they weren't the parts he really wanted to do, there was something that kept driving him forward. So he was more, even though he saw some of the reality of what was going on there, he was more driven toward it. Right now, he's in NaNoWriMo, if you know what that means. If you don't, it's a good word to look up for the month of November. NaNoWriMo, I think, is National Novel Writers Month or something like that. So he's working on his second or third novel, depending on how you package it, to actually get something published. So in his case, he's become more attracted to what it was that he's doing and more into it and learning more and going to conferences and diving in to what authors are doing and meeting authors. He's been to multiple author conferences now, but it's because he's stepped in and he's watching and he's seeing and he's doing and he's learning. But you know what? If you start that at 25, 35, 45, 55, whatever age you are, if you start writing, you're going to go through those same steps that he's doing at 16. So will your kids, no matter what they're doing. Have them going through the learning steps of the careers they think they want to do. If they don't know, drive into their interest fields, get them some experience, because I'm not sure what we are waiting for. I don't know why we are thinking that, because the mentality out there that we have, and I know, but I'm saying this because I have it too, is when our kids get to a certain age, they graduate high school, and then they can go get real experience. Anything short of that, we're going to just put them at Chick-fil-A or, get some job to make some money. That's where they get the real experience. Why? What's magical about graduating high school and suddenly you can get work experience? But nowadays, it's actually, let's graduate high school just to get into college, so you can get into college, so then you can start getting maybe some work experience during or even after. Where did that come from, that you start exploring your career so late? So my view, my challenge to you, my challenge to most of the adults I meet, so I'm saying this to mom and dad too. If you are looking at another career, you're looking at an entrepreneurial activity, you're looking at doing something, start. Move in that direction, do something. And especially with your kids, because you're going to invest a lot of money in their education, whether it's college or not, you're going to probably be investing a lot of money there. So again, my challenge, help them get educated and grow. So now, if you've been joining us and you're back here on Thursdays, we've moved off of, if you've watched last time, Cassidy, our daughter, our oldest, she is moved away from our company, not moved away, but she's gone off doing that thing that she wanted to do. So the best thing for her is to focus her time and energy on that. So she's no longer working with us. And so we probably won't be doing the Thursday thing because that was her thing. So we'll be back with you next Tuesday. And obviously then I think it's Thanksgiving week. So we'll be back with you at 7 o'clock next week. Have a great one.